All right, made it home. Made it home. And this particular video right now that I'm making, it's going to be a fairly short one, and there is not going to be any emails read in this video, all right? I'm going to share something else with you. And then, once I get unpacked, a little more settled in here at home, then I will try to make sure I have a relaxing day today and don't do too much. So that means I can hang out in the man cave here and do some stuff with the people. Anyway, a couple things. I'll quick mention on my deer I brought home. This carving, great big carving and a huge chunk of cedar. Can't really see it all, I don't think. Let me have a look here. Maybe pan back a little bit. Check this carving out. How cool is that? And we were driving up north. We were driving up north on this particular trip, and I glanced to my left and caught this thing standing on a pedestal in the front parkway of an artist place. Antler Buyer, Antler Creations, all sorts of stuff. Very skilled people in there, and if they had a little more marketing or exposure, they would probably go bonkers. But anyway, when we drove home yesterday, I wanted to pull in there and see if this carving of the deer was still there and how much it was. And it turns out the price was a lot less than I expected, so I bought it. I brought it home. Cool. Now, it might be a little echoey right here. I only have the microphone and the camera working, but I've got something to share with you guys. I was definitely a little emotional about it the other day. We were driving home the other day, and basically we should not be alive right now. I don't know how we are alive. To be straight up honest, I don't have a clue how we are alive right now. There's a particular stretch of highway in northern British Columbia. It's pretty desolate. It's basically from the Mackenzie turnoff until you get to Prince George. There's next to nothing. I think there's a gas stop 3/4 of the way through it, but the significance of this stretch of highway is there is no intersections and you are always doing at least 100 kilometers an hour. What, 60, 65 miles an hour? On a windy mountainous road in the middle of nowhere. You're not slowing down. If anything, you're going faster to pass commercial rigs, loaded logging trucks. Loaded logging trucks coming both ways, commercial traffic going both ways, oil patch equipment going both ways, and everybody's doing around 65 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour plus. And two-way traffic with just a yellow line in between. And we drove that highway with absolute confidence with the trailer behind the truck, doing those speeds, speeding up the odd time to pass B-train freight trucks. Then we got into Prince George and we pulled into a parking lot to go get a sandwich. We jumped in the truck and I put it in drive, and something stopped my truck from going forward in the parking lot after all that driving. And I went to back up and something was binding up underneath my truck. I got up to take a look, and one of the ball joints in the tie rod end that controls your steering, gives you control of the vehicle, literally snapped in half in the parking lot after we had a sandwich, just from putting it in gear and going 2 feet ahead. And for all you mechanics out there, people familiar, this is the top of the ball joint that snapped off. Hanging by a thread. And it was a ball joint that went up, not down. There's nothing resting. And it snapped off when we got, I got goosebumps right now. It snapped off after we stopped in a parking lot to get a sandwich. After driving for 3 hours of remote 65-mile-per-hour plus speeds, passing commercial vehicles and passing fully loaded logging trucks head on, and passing them in passing lanes with a steep embankment on the right, timber and telephone poles, whole 9 yards, and no intersections, nothing to slow down ever in that long 3-hour frickin' stretch. how that did not break. If I think of it, I'll put the photos of my wheels were like this in the parking lot. How that did not break while we were driving that stretch of highway is absolutely mind-boggling. I do not understand how that happened. And to top it off, this tiny little strip mall, which we were broken down in, had a parts store in it. A parts store, a Subway, a pizza joint, and a Salvation Army store. That's it. Outskirts of the town, for sure. I got a little emotional when I first realized it because I just looked at Sarah and I go, we just died. We just died. We should have died. It's absolutely amazing. That's the adventure dog chewing on her bone. So anyway, I know a lot of you people on here are mechanically familiar. Unfreaking believable. Now, how did it happen? I don't know. Obviously, it's something we did during this hunting trip. There's one time, 2 or 3 times we went through little deactivation ditches, went slow. I did not hear a clunk. I did not hear a crunch, a grind, nothing. But one of the tie rod, the whole tie front arm was bent, which put an odd pressure on the ball joint. But there was just a fluke of a bend in the front end. When I drove and left up north and hit the highway, my truck did not pull to the left, it did not pull to the right. Nothing felt abnormal. Nothing. If anything, I remember thinking, oh, it sounds like my power steering fluid might be getting a little low. Turns out it was the power steering was laboring because of the bent front end tie rod ends. You know what I'm talking about. And after a few hours of that, it decided to snap off, but it waited until we got to the parking lot 3 hours later. Un-effing believable. So, I do know there's a lot of kind people here. Everybody prays for everybody here. I know that. A lot of the majority of people do. And I do understand. We get in the emails, a lot of people here pray for our safety on our trips. And I just want to share this video to say I absolutely appreciate that. Thank you. And Sarah prays for our protection every night in the bush and burns sage around her camp. But it just lets me know there's obviously something more to be done in this lifetime. And there's another weird note that she took. We were driving down that remote highway and there was a small red car in the left-hand lane facing this way, pulled over, and I could see the connecting rod laying on the ground by the driver's wheel. And I looked at that one, holy cow, that's one lucky person, they almost died. That should have caused a crazy accident. Whoever that is, they're lucky they caught that without dying. And then on that note, I remember saying to Sarah, I go, you know, before, I didn't give a shit if I died, really. I'd done everything I came to do, I believe, and I mastered a lot of things I wanted to master in life. And I said, but I think I'd be a little pissed off if I died right now. And that was after that. So the signs, I don't give weird signs much energy myself, but Sarah said, you know what? She said, while we were driving, that same malfunction of vehicle was pointed out to us on the left, and right after that you shared that you'd be angry if you died right now. Yeah, maybe it's a coincidence, I don't know. But anyway, there you go, you guys. So for all of the people out in our huge family in the world today, of all the people, caring people here and everywhere, who has each other and us in your prayers, thank you. Thank you. Unbelievable, right? Like we should not be alive right now. Absolutely freaks me out still. But anyways, that's a little more emotional than this when I realized I saw. And then to top it off, all the tools I needed were in that store. I had my own tools. I was missing a couple of wrenches, and there's almost like a tuning fork tool that you can hammer into to peel out your ball joints. And amazingly enough, all the parts I needed were in Prince George, and they got shipped up. And another mention I want to make is, while we're in that parking lot, at least 6 or 8 different people, men and women, pulled over to ask us if we need any help or if we had enough tools. How kind is that? Right? Went out of their way at dinner time to pull over and ask us if I needed a hand fixing the truck or if we needed tools or whatever, if we were okay. Very, very, very kind people everywhere, right? But anyway, so I got all the new tie rods, front end, sway bar. Luckily it was the right one. And I went to town in the parking lot and I managed to replace, I pulled off all the old parts, replaced with the new ones. And then I was doing the string line to get my wheel alignment done enough so we can continue on. I've got all that elk meat in the truck. And then another guy, a logger, pulled over and he said, hey, you're doing wheel alignment, do this. Gets it every time. He said, jack up the front, spin the wheel and mark it with a marker. You get the dead center line and do it on the other side. Then you got a perfect line to measure from. Great tip. I did that and I did my own wheel alignment. And if the truck didn't pull left or right and went smooth, then we managed to get home safely. Unfreaking believable. Absolutely unbelievable. Add that to the list of what the hell, how did I not die stories, right? That would have been absolutely horrifying. This makes me cringe at the thought of losing my steering doing 100 kilometers an hour while passing a logging truck. Fully loaded logging truck or a B-train freight truck. How did that not happen is absolutely beyond me. How it managed to stay intact until we were completely stopped in front of a sandwich store and a parts store. After 3 hours of doing 100 kilometers an hour. All you guys and ladies that are familiar with that part, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you got goosebumps, right? And even the parts store said, I got goosebumps, man. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Imagine if Sarah and I woke up, or even if we woke up in an intensive care unit, not knowing what happened, whatever. There you go. I want to share that video with you guys. So, thank you to every single one of you kind souls out there who prays for our safety. That's all I can say. Whew. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to get this sent off to all of you. And also when I was coming home off another topic I had on, there's very minimal, I don't have satellite radio in my truck. But while you're driving home, sometimes a remote Canada, one of the radio stations you can pick up, I don't know why, is CBC, which is a very corrupt corporation, government funded in Canada, who is used to manipulate us. And I don't even know why I started to listen to it and I hesitated because it's the only radio station. I'm like, I don't even know, I can't listen to these guys, we'll try it. Coincidentally, they came up with an interview of this absolute fraudulent dirtbag and asking him about the current grizzly bear status and bear status in British Columbia and how we can change how conservation officers deal with problem bears. And I listened to this for a while and it made me sick. So I found that interview on YouTube. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to play that video for everyone to hear and I'm going to comment on it. I'm going to rip this guy in the butthole and expose him. Why? Because I have to. Somebody has to. When the CBC, the corrupt corporation, takes that stage and lies to all Canadians nonstop in such a vast plane, somebody has to tell the truth, and I'm going to do that today as well. So I'm going to do that next, and I'll put that video on my How to Hunt YouTube channel, all right? And I'll put a link here for all you guys who might be curious, but I'm going to share some true facts and expose this guy for what he is and the CBC. Then, after that, I might have some lunch, and then I'm going to go to sharing the voices of honest people telling the truth. I'm going to do that. And then I'll put that on this channel right away. I'll do that today too. And there you go. One more side note for you to think about. I was listening to Brett Weinstein, I think his name is Brett, and another English guy on a podcast when we were up north. Listened to them for a little bit. Very intelligent guys. And one comment the Weinstein man made, which I thought I would share, which is true, I feel is true, is he said, we're at a time when the entire public, the entire country does not know who is in control of the United States of America. And I believe that to be true. So, knowing that, why would you even pay attention to any kind of a debate with anyone currently? You know what I mean? It's sad, but it's true. Until we can expose who is truly in control and feeding and starting all these wars and all this grief and all doing all this shit to us, why would you even listen to any of the little people? The little people being the public eye politicians in any country. Why would you? It's just a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. I didn't watch that debate. I watched for about 20 seconds. I almost wanted to puke, but until we can see the faces and the eyes and the names of the people who are truly in control, what a waste of time, right? Think about that for a bit. Anyway, I'm going to stop. I only had 2 coffees. And I got to get my shit together, settle my brain down, and get comfortable in the man cave, get back on track. And I have a handful of people that are going to come on here, and they're going to talk to me and share with me their truth and their knowledge when it comes to what's going on in our forest and mountains, so that we can help people who are having their fair crack at living a great, fun, exciting life in the real world, and help them deal with what they've experienced, what they may be about to experience, and help them deal so it's not all stripped from them. All right? There you go. There's my little rant for the day. Thank you again for all of you who keep us in your prayers for safety, and they are right back at you. I'll be back shortly.